welcome back into the Big Ten Huddle as we are talking Curt Cignetti and how he is able to somehow, who knows, somehow, I'm going to try to answer that question in this video about how does Curt Cignetti dominate the transfer portal year in and year out. Not only is he going out and getting really good players now like Nick Marsh, he got Fernando Mendoza last year, he got Josh Hoover this year who's rated even higher than Fernando Mendoza was last year. I don't know if, Josh Hoover's going to go win the Heisman or anything like that. That seems like really high expectations. But I also didn't know if anybody could outplay Curtis Rourke last year. And we saw what happened with Fernando Mendoza this year. So who knows? Maybe Josh Hoover goes out and has a Joe Burrow year or something like that. Holy cow, Indiana fans are going to be insane. If that happens, honestly, I will grab my popcorn and watch it happen because some of these Indiana fans are just really, really entertaining on Twitter and stuff like that. Not all of them. Some of them are taking it a little far, but most of them are just really, really entertaining and fun to watch. And it's a fan base that is experiencing, success in football for really the first time ever. And a lot of them kind of acknowledge it. Anyway, we're talking about the fans here. We need to talk about Curt Cignetti, the Portal King, as I titled him on the previous episode when we were talking about Nick Marsh. I had some more thoughts about Curt Cignetti and how he is developing as a coach and really kind of evolving the transfer portal and giving this blueprint for so many other coaches to go out here. One of the things that Curt Cignetti does so well is he goes after older players, especially on the line of scrimmage. He's not really wasting his time with 19, 20-year-olds on the line of scrimmage. He's going after 22, 23, sometimes 24-year-olds there. He just got a seventh-year safety out of Wisconsin, Preston Zachman. Now, I know he's not on the line of scrimmage, but still, a safety back there, somebody with that kind of intelligence, that kind of a playing experience to come in, it's going to be huge for them to have that. Nick Marsh is not the oldest guy out there, but he's definitely a super talented guy. So you can't say that this team isn't going to have talent or anything like that. Curt Cignetti is doing a wonderful job of being able to balance going out and get older players and also going out and getting young talented players as well who are going to do a good job. They're going to make it into the league. Nick Marsh is going to be drafted very highly. If it's any indication what Elijah Surratt and the other guys have turned into there at Indiana, Nick Marsh is going to be just fine. He's going to get drafted pretty highly. So I have three things, really four things. We'll get to the fourth one last, obviously. But three things that I think is why Curt Cignetti, that I've kind of observed and read about and thought through on why Curt Cignetti is so impactful in the transfer portal. And number one is that Curt Cignetti is not the type of guy to wait around. He was talking about it in his press conference before the Peach Bowl game with Dan Lanning and how, everybody heard the quote of, it's taking away time from my prep and everything else. But really what I think Curt Cignetti gets at a lot, and it sounds like something, it's not just something he's doing this year, but he's done it in years past and before, is he only brings you in. He knows that Indiana right now is a commodity. Maybe the first year, not as much, but he knows Indiana is a very big commodity right now. It's something that a lot of players want to be a part of because not only do they see the success for the team, but they also see the incredible development. Somebody like Stephen Daly, who was just on Kent State last year, comes into Indiana and he leads the country in tackles for loss. After not even starting to begin the year. What a fantastic story. Teams, players see that kind of stuff and they say, I got to get to I got to get to Indiana. And Curt Cignetti is going to be very selective about what players he actually brings in for the visit. And he is not going to have them be players that leave him waiting around. He knows that Indiana is a commodity. He's turned Indiana into this large commodity, and he is going to tell players, look, if you're going to come on this visit, you're going to actually be serious. You're not getting any vacation trips here. You're not coming here to figure out, what does Indiana do well? What don't they do well? If you want to come here, you're going to seriously consider committing to Indiana. We saw a number of big commits happen. Like I said, Josh Hoover, Nick Marsh, and there were even a couple of defensive linemen, the guy from Notre Dame, I forget all the guys' names. I apologize off the top of my head. But a number of guys that committed right after that first try. We got it here. Joshua Burnham, Mekhi Jackson, or not Mekhi Jackson, he transferred out. Turbo Richard, Toby Osunami. number of guys that came in for visits, and they committed almost right away on those visits. They got Brock Schott as well. That's a huge addition for them. Guy that true freshman, went to Miami, maybe didn't have the impact he thought he was going to have this season, but a nice young player for Curt Cignetti to kind of have mold and really develop into exactly what they want there at the tight end position. Really, the only thing they need right now is offensive linemen. And I think one of the reasons why they haven't gone after any offensive linemen is there's not a ton of great offensive linemen in the portal right now. Maybe we'll see Cignetti, go after some more here soon. But they also have more depth back there on the offensive line room than I think some people give them credit for. And who knows, Carter Smith could come back as well. Number two, why Curt Cignetti is so successful in the transfer portal is because Curt Cignetti has found a way to be the hard-nosed Saban type in an era where coaches have little power and players seem to have all the power. But even in this era with players having so much power, Curt Cignetti is still able to pull off this kind of Saban type of mystique, this kind of Saban type of leadership where he's super hard nosed with his guys. He's gonna be very, very hard on his guys. He's gonna have really high standards for them, but at the same time, they're going to respond to them because they know how much he cares about them. They know how much they actually want to work and play for him. Some of that comes from, obviously being a very good head coach and getting Indiana to where they are. But other than that is also just Indiana being a great program where he's bringing in the right kind of guys for that. He's bringing in guys who want to be coached hard, who want to come in and develop and be turned into something. And so really it's amazing selection by Curt Cignetti, but it's also just amazingness of his personality to be that Saban type of guy, to be able to be hard nosed, be hard on them, but also have them not feel like they are missing out in a player led era or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, Curt Cignetti is hard on them. He is working them, diligently because he wants them to be their best, and he knows that this is what has to happen for the team to be at their best. Final point, well, third point, and then I'll get to my final point. They aren't. Indiana is not going after 20 top 100 players in recruiting every single year or anything like that. They are bringing in mature players who love ball and don't get their egos in the way. Number one, you can get egos in the way. Number two, they're mature. And number three, you're not spending all this money on young players. You're bringing in older players who have that maturity, have gotten rid of that ego, and they just want to come in and they just want to play ball. They just want to develop into better players. And a lot of these guys, they see the end of their career coming up soon. You had guys like Chidi Obizar. He is going to be a redshirt junior next year. Joshua Burnham, he's going to be a redshirt senior next year. Turbo Richard, he's going to be a junior next year. Toby, that I mentioned, he's going to be a redshirt senior. Nick Marsh, he's going to be a junior. Preston Zachman, like I said, seventh year player. Josh Hoover is going to be a redshirt senior next year. These are guys that are older, they're more mature, and they are going to be more willing to, number one, accept the coaching, and number two, not dilly dally with the process. They're not going to go, oh, I got to go to this visit, I got to who's going to give me the most money. That's not what they care about. They care about ball, they care about winning games, and that's why they're going to Indiana. It's a great job by Cignetti of not just picking players that are talented, but also picking players who are ready to come in, assimilate to the culture of development, zero ego, and working together for the team. And obviously, the last part of this, you're not able to do any of this without the money. Now, this is a tweet from a guy named J-Book. He's more of an Ohio State guy, but he does tweet national college football stuff from time to time. And he tweeted out these numbers that The Athletic or New York Times put as the cost of doing business in the portal this year, as he puts it. If you're listening on podcasts, I'll read them off for you. Quarterbacks are making anywhere from $1 million to $4 million. Sam Levitt and Brendan Sorsby made $5 million, so a little bit over there, but that's probably like a specialty type of player situation. Offensive tackles anywhere from $600K to $1.3 million. Pretty incredible when you think about you need 5 offensive linemen, and that's how much the tackles are making. The rest of the offensive line probably isn't far off. Running backs anywhere from $400K to $900K. Wide receivers anywhere from $500K to $1 million. Tight ends anywhere from $300K to $900K. Edge rushers, $500K to $2 million. I would not be surprised if Chaz Coleman is somebody that is looking at that $2 million range right now. Interior defensive linemen, anywhere from $500K to $1.5 million. And then corners, 250K to 1 million, safeties 250K to 900K. And these numbers are not all that far off from what we've seen reported in years past, but it does remind you how much money Indiana has. I mean, I'm not saying that every single guy Indiana's brought in. I'm not saying that Preston Zachman came in saying I need $900,000 or anything like that. But when you do think about how much these players are costing for the team, it does remind you how much investment this Indiana program has, not just in Curt Cignetti and financially, and not just in the coaches, but also going out there to the portal, to the players, the donations from the fans, and everything else. And, if you're somebody out there that thinks that there's still a salary cap or anything like that in college football, there's not. It's a free for all. The biggest mistake that they ever made was they allowed the NIL groups or whatever they're called to go through the clearinghouse stuff. That was their biggest mistake, is when they let that happen, because that made it that you could really pay anybody anything, and the NIL clearinghouse couldn't do anything about it. So anyway, that's for another conversation. The conversation here is to point out how awesome Curt Cignetti is in the transfer portal. These are the 4 main reasons why I think he is so awesome. 3 of them being all about him. The last one being about the investment from the university and everything else. And that's not to take anything away from Curt Cignetti. That's just to say he has outstanding investment from his university that is really giving him a whole lot. The president, Pam, forget what her last name is off the top of my head, but Pam, and then Scott Dolson, the athletic director there, they're doing a fantastic job, and it really goes to show how much Indiana is not just set up for success now, but set up for success in the future as well.